Welcome, viewers, to tuning into our show. Thank you. This is Smalltalk with Matt and John.
Oh, hi, folks.
I'm Matt.
I'm John.
And you're our viewers. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping your eyes open.
You never cease to amaze us that you continue to click on our links for...
Yeah.
I don't know why you do it, but you keep doing it.
You're good Americans.
We are. And you are, too. And we also might have some international viewers as well.
Ooh, yeah, the ones overseas.
Yeah. Everybody. Aliens. Anyone listening.
Maybe underwater in some type of structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we have a very special, exciting topic for you. We are going to talk about school bus conversions. We have my friends Rich and Jake to talk about schoolies, the school bus community, among other things. So welcome, Rich and Jake. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh,
thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Rich, Jake, okay.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Oh, great, wow. So what started you? Like, where did you get that idea?
Yeah, so after kind of graduating from law school and starting to do some consulting work, we were talking about how a lot of consultants don't really spend time in the community that they're working for. They might come visit for a day or something like that. And we wanted to have the flexibility to be able to go and really stay in a place and also work there, right? So be able to take our office to the community that we were advising or planning for.
Oh, yeah. And maybe a lot of your people, they might not be able to go out
Right.
to a consulting place.
Right, exactly. So kind of bringing it to them, kind of doing, being a bit more engaging, a bit more interactive, and really taking the time to learn how things work on the ground.
Oh. Where did you where did you get this bus? How do you find a bus? I'm busless.
Yeah, so it's a very exciting story. But yeah, Rich, Jake, how did we go upon finding this bus? How did you do this?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly where Rich first found it. Was it Craigslist maybe? But I know he was talking about this bus for a little while. I think he'd been watching Into the Wild too many times.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know the movie Into the Wild.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. The guy found a bus in the middle of nowhere. He's in a wild environment, and I suspect that there are buses all over America and Canada.
We need to find them and map them.
On mountains, in forests.
Explorers and hunter-gatherers need to go find the buses and make them their home.
And we don't know how they got there. You know.
That's part of the mystery.
There's probably either a short story involved with it or something going on a quantum level where buses
just start appearing in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, so could you guys paint a mental picture for our viewers? What does this bus look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? How does it stir your soul?
So I guess to start it off, the nickname for the bus is Big Blue because she is a very large blue school bus.
So it's a female gender. This is a female bus.
I'm not going to assume, but that's kind of where I start off.
We don't
Big
know how
Blue
it identifies.
No. But so yeah, we've been working on a lot of the internal rehab lately. So current smell would be of fresh pine and lumber.
Yeah.
If you were to go inside, on the rebuilding out the inside, we've been doing a lot of woodwork. So we've got, and it's funny, we've been pulling odds and ends from different places. So we have wood panel flooring for walls. We have cabinet wood paneling for the floor. We have general, plywood and 4x4s we've been using to build benches, and then we have what are they?
1x10s.
1x10 pine boards running on the ceiling. And then a lot of wood on the interior. We kind of spruced it up a little bit. It didn't have any windows originally, so we cut in a couple new of our own windows that we've been putting in.
Oh, cool.
Took out one of the AC units and put in a skylight.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Initially, when you guys bought the bus, we let you park on my grandma's lawn.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends and family that might have know that story. These are the two characters that helped me. That we parked the bus. It was there for.
I remember that. Because I would always go over to Ma's to eat, But I'd come there the one day and there was this big bus. And it's cool. It was a cool,
Well, it's funny because when I think I told Grandma, "Hey, Grandma, can me and my friends come park the school bus on your lawn?" And she's like, "Oh, sure."
Yeah.
So when I got there beforehand to make sure it was all right, she's like, "Oh, I think it will fit over here." Like I cleared out this spot of the garage. I was like, "Grandma, this bus is not fitting in the garage."
Yeah.
So I think when she said a bus, I didn't think until you see an actual full-size school bus on the lawn. It was kind of...
It is freaky. It's like, whoa, yeah. But Grandma liked you. You're her favorite.
Yeah.
Or, I don't think you're... Well...
She allowed me, and she didn't get too upset that I parked a bus on the lawn.
And usually she gets a little... she's always conscious of what the neighbors are thinking.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like she'd always say, what do your neighbors think about that? But you were okay.
Well, it turns out the neighbors were actually cooking meth in the basement because it turns out that on my grandma's street there was a meth lab and it blew up.
It blew up, yeah.
And my grandma's like, one night all the fire trucks were going there, and she's like, "What's going on?" And then it turns out in the morning, her neighbors were perfect spot for a meth lab. It was right there, dead end street by the railroad tracks. They were cooking meth.
I mean, it's a good thing we moved the bus then, because we would have been suspect number one if that was still just sitting over there.
Well, yeah, because there was a thing, I think it was called the Great Acid Test, where when LSD first became available, it was anybody could take it.
Acid for all.
And these guys, and I'm glad you guys aren't doing that, by the way, decided to get a bus and drive it throughout the United States and put people on acid trips. And it actually did spread, like, the use of acid during this, like, 60s to all sorts of folks.
Ken Kesey? Is that the...
Was that the guy?
Is it Ken Kesey? I think so.
He had interesting, it was a thing of the 60s. I think they called themselves the Jokers or something. And
But it seems like at the core of this bus project is the community. You guys, it's all about how can we use this bus to help the community.
It's not about LSD.
It's not about LSD.
Which is good, yeah.
But, I mean, originally it started a bit more, as Rich was saying, with being able to use it as a tool for the urban planning work and the consulting, because you could drive it out to on-site wherever you're doing work. And that's still an intended purpose of it, but we've kind of grown the idea a little bit. We want it to be, a general kind of, we want to, it's eventually going to be called, its official name is a mixed-use vehicle, and that's what we have it set up as. And the idea is it could be, a mobile office if Rich and his partner take it on the road, but we can also put a bunch of people into it and shuttle to Bills games. We can do wine or pub tours, but like it can serve the purpose of using it as like an office space or even a cafe. But you can also it flips around inside, so you can have beds and sleep in it. So it can be from let's hang out in it today, or let's take this on a month-long road trip, and it can serve both purposes.
Yeah, the way we settled on the final design, there's a couple long benches behind the driver's seat. And the benches have hinges on the front of them. Yeah. So if you think about it, the hinges on the front, the entire bench flips over itself, and then you're left with the bed frame. So you could also use it for something like camping, right? So the idea is to be very flexible with potential uses.
Yeah, because I think traditional school bus design, it's really only designed to transport children to school.
Yeah, and
so it's kind of one-dimensional.
And maybe not in the most safe way. Because I think the Simpsons did a thing on this. Like, there's a metal bar for your teeth to hit in case there's a small accident on there. At least the one that I grew up with.
It's a single lap belt that goes across, and no one really actually uses it.
We never had those.
Yeah. So tell me about the safety of this bus. How have you guys taken safety into design, or did you take safety into the design of the bus?
We did. I mean, I guess I'm not really sure how to get at that one.
I think, we so you had mentioned earlier there's this website, Schooly, and we had it's almost like a message board type of website that really walks you through the conversion process. And so we were kind of seeing what other people were doing between Schooly and some YouTube videos, how they had arranged their seating, and we kind of used that to inform the design and layout to make sure it was relatively safe.
So you guys conducted a lot of your research on the Schooly website, the Schooly community?
Yeah, definitely. It's really amazing, like how much you can learn. Like, I don't have any sort of like a metalworking background or anything like that. And So you can watch the videos on Schooly, and then you can kind of borrow someone's angle grinder and get to work.
Yeah,
I think you told me, Rich, that the Schooly community, they're very like anti like RVs or something, and they're very they think their school bus conversion is the best way.
Oh, yeah, a lot of interesting kind of characters. It seems, I don't know. I think everyone has very different reasons for why they might want to live in a bus or convert a school bus. But it was an incredible resource as far as education, on what, like, how to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, and the forums are good, too, because there were a couple points where we were like, how should we go about this? And we'd pose a question out there to the Schooly website, and people, would hop on.
The community would just help you.
Yeah, they would give you tips or say what they did in a previous job or send you a link on who to watch.
Who makes school buses? Like, what company? Is there like
the school bus company?
The school bus company? Or?
I think Thomas is like a big brand, right? But so the bus we have, it's just an international. Is the name? They make tractors and stuff like that, and the like the frames for trucks, and then there's different finishes. Allison makes the transmission, so there's kind of a. It's kind of like a piecemeal kind of thing, I think, in a lot of circumstances.
So tell me too about. So the bus is up and running. You guys have it up and running. What's like your ideal project or type of thing that you would go into a community and do? What's the type of work like you get an RFP for?
Yeah, so we recently put a proposal in. So our consulting company is called Urban Vantage, and we do urban planning, economic development consulting. And we just put a proposal in to do a trails and recreation master plan, which would be pretty incredible. So kind of designing this trail system that would go kind of through this town and up into this national park. So that would be a perfect type of thing. Get to meet people, stay up in the town in the bus, and meet people and see what they would like to, where they like to see the new trails, what sorts of amenities they might want to have on the trail. We'd be able to hike the trails ourselves instead of, I feel like a lot of times it's like, a consultant comes to town, it's like, oh, come to the zoning meeting, and it's going to be in the church hall or the basement, and like no one's really excited about that, right? So being able to meet with them, actually be in the town, go to the cafe, go to the bar, talk to people in a more kind of normal setting, you might be able to learn a bit more about the local community's like preferences. So
you could go into like urban communities and maybe say take them out to the park. The church or
Yeah, I think just like generically interacting with people versus like you have to come to this meeting at this time. Like people might have something going on at that time, or they might feel intimidated, like they don't know anything about zoning, so why are they going to go? So I think that consultants really need to make an effort that goes kind of above and beyond that traditional public meeting process.
What do you call having a giant blue school bus going above and beyond what normal
right? Certainly attention grabbing. I mean, I think that's part of it, and also keeps costs down potentially. I
think the whole tiny house van. Obviously, our viewers know that I live in a van, so I'm all for this kind of revolution in how we think about our land or what we use our space. But the idea of businesses could be mobile. Now with the internet, we have the internet. We don't need to have brick and mortar shops. This is a very exciting time to be.
It could all come to you, the consumer.
I have the internet. Like our intro song. The Who just posted a song on the internet, and now it's our. Hey, it's knowledge. It's out there on the internet. I can use it. Even this show. Like, look, my face now is on the internet.
All those folks.
The viewers, you might not know, but maybe you've realized, but this is our first foray into video. Now I can actually, I can see your soul.
That's another thing. A lot of the viewers are saying, we look back at you, so you could disappear in us. And Matt and John.
And we know you're on the edge. You're about to kill yourself. But we're here to support you.
We're here for you, the viewer.
Thank you.
And or listener.
I think one other thing, kind of talking more generally about the use of space and mobile vehicles, whether it's kind of living in them or running like a food truck. I think we've kind of seen the first wave is mostly food trucks and stuff of that nature. I think a lot of local regulations have a lot of catching up to do, right? In most communities, the zoning would probably prohibit you from living in your van.
It does. I've been on the green code. So there's technically what you're allowed, and then legally what is allowed.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of catching up and adjusting of the local regulations that's going to be necessary to kind of accommodate some of these innovative uses of whether it's vehicles or really anything else of space.
Okay, yeah, we can brand it as innovative. This is all innovative. This isn't crazy. This is innovative.
That's
We're
right.
rethinking how we live and do business in the 21st century.
Is it hard to drive?
It's a lot of fun to drive.
Oh, okay.
It's a tank. I mean,
yeah.
You feel powerful. But I mean, we haven't done very much distance recently because we've had it kind of parked up doing a lot of the interior work. So one of the next steps before we do any long voyages, we're almost done with our build on the inside. We have to get a mechanic that we have to get it to, and he's got to do some work to get it. It drives. It doesn't pass inspection at the moment. So we have some mechanical work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But that's should be completed by the summer, and then we're going to start doing some road trips.
Do you need a specialized license or
not? Technically, how we have it. So it's a bus, but we have it registered as a van.
Okay.
Technically.
Yeah.
So as long as we don't have more than 15 people in it, then you can drive it with a normal driver's license.
The registration, like the bus versus van thing, that doesn't really matter for like whether or not you need a license. It's
it's like weight and people.
Yeah, it's weight and people, right? So as long as it's not designed for 15 or more people, and as long as it's or more than 15, I should say, and as long as it's under a certain weight, then it's not a commercial vehicle, and you don't need a CDL to drive it. And so this is it's under the weight threshold, so you don't need a CDL. That being said, I think if we're going to be hosting like large groups, I would want to hire like a professional driver. I don't want to drive it if we've got like 10 or 15 people in there, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just us going to do some consulting work, or maybe we're going camping or something of that nature, then I drive it. Yeah.
So what are some of the other mixed use when you're talking about large groups? What are some of the things you envision? I don't know, this thing being used for, the mixed uses.
Bill's games.
I think it does.
So we want to get some other uses. So we're thinking, Bill's games and Buffalo's kind of had this resurgence doing, we could do brewery tours, wine tours, stag parties, bachelorette parties, things that, people, you would usually maybe get like a limousine or a bus or something like that anyways, but we can be a bit more of a like that same style, but with a twist. Just your basic limousine or your charter bus.
So our last guest that we had on, he was hosting a clown party. So potentially, could you see this bus maybe transporting 100 plus people dressed up as clowns?
Yeah. How many of them do you think you could jam into the bus? Much larger.
No more than 15, I think. So I think we have it designed for about like 13 people.
But what about
13
for taking hilarity into the equation?
Yeah, legally we can only transport 15 clowns, but illegally, how many clowns?
But
how many could hang out in there and party and do tricks? I guess
could you get
the real question.
Maybe 1,000 in there.
1,000,
and then they're coming out. It's just ridiculous.
I know. I've seen some clowns pile into cars. I mean, maybe if they were clowns, you could get 1,000. I don't know about normal people.
I'd say a solid 150 clowns. Maybe.
Okay, I'm all over here. It's, what could be done there?
It's awesome. Yeah, I see wedding parties, stags, Bill's tailgates.
Yeah, or driving around Chippewa, getting drunks and from one point of I'm sorry, what's a politically correct thing? Alcoholic, inebriated Americans. Getting them in there, and you drive them to different bars or
just
houses.
Drive people around.
Some bar hopping.
Yeah. Ubers. How cool of an Uber would that be?
Yeah, an Uber bus.
That'd be the best.
Think of the Uber bus.
We got lights inside that go to the music and everything. You could have your own little disco in there if you wanted.
A bus disco. That's
with clowns. Now we're just layering complexity on top of each other.
It'd be hilarious.
It would, but also it'd be creepy at the same time.
Yeah. But what did your loved ones think of this?
Well, when we bought the bus, I didn't have a loved one.
Do you have any loved ones left after buying the bus?
My girlfriend isn't the biggest fan of the bus. Generally,
that's got to be hard to bring your home to your parents and be like, "Oh, this is my boyfriend. He has a bus.
He has a bus."
The only one who likes it less than my girlfriend is my mom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's weird. I feel like my mom. I don't know how. You're part of my family. Like, at this point, I'm so far removed. What was our family's impression.
We're like, wow, you know what Matt's doing? He's getting a bus, and they're going to drive around, and they're going to consult and stuff.
Yeah, our family was oddly accepting of it.
But what my thought was more,
intrigued.
use it to transport drunk people.
Yeah.
More than consult people.
Yeah. But I kind of remember my mom just kind of oddly accepted the fact that
Grandma was excited about it.
Yeah. Grandma was excited.
Yeah.
What about the van? Like, what do your folks think of the van and stuff like that?
I think my mom was when I first told them, I think they didn't think I was serious, which I don't think any parent dreams when they have their child that they'll grow up to live in a van or drive a van. But I think it slowly accepting. She just accepted this is it, and she's very excited. Actually, just closing on a vacant lot, so she was oddly as proud as a mom can be for buying a vacant piece of land. So I've kind of evolved.
Because you have the house center there. You're not solely a van, living in a van.
It's funny because Rich has actually been my lawyer on the project, but he's helping me navigate the legal parts of this. But hopefully build a tiny house on it.
Tiny house. Maybe you could go for a full normal size house.
Yeah, maybe. No, probably not.
Small house? Okay, because
normal for me, but within things. So I think we'll eventually try to park the bus there. Maybe make it bus.
Well, community.
I've been playing around with the term van garden, or like a
van garden.
Because a vanguard is like a person in battle. They're like the first to battle, first in the idea.
Yeah.
Van garden is in there.
That's clever.
Make just a community for people that want to live in buses or vans. They can just this is a safe haven where they can retreat to that area.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh.
Did you go to that? I know when I talked to you a little while ago, you had gone to a van type of festival or something. Did you do that again this year? Or?
So I have not actually. So what you're referring to is the Van Nationals?
Yes,
so
that is exactly.
Within vanning, there is a community. So vanning, actually, when we think of in modern day vanning, we think of them as like raper vans, creepers, like weird people. The guy that he sent like anthrax and bombs to politicians. He of course lived in a van.
Lived in a van. Yeah.
But originally the vanning movement started in like the 70s when it was cool to have a van. You customize the back. You go camping in for the weekend.
I remember that.
Yeah. This subculture still exists, and they hold. Back in the day in the 70s, the initial Van Nationals, they had 18,000 vans parked out, and now it's still going, but there's 400 to 500 vans.
Maybe you need a TV show with a positive role models who own the van and live in a van, and they're not, creepy or whatever.
Yeah, like a positive vanning role model.
Yeah, it's a tough road to hoe. I mean,
but that's what really excited me when we got the buses. I think. The vanners, they are very excited. Like they just when they see new people getting into it, they're accepting. So I think if you guys showed up to Van Nationals in a giant blue school bus, they would be they'd be very accepting. They'd be like, yes, the new generation. Yeah. You are not only vanning, you're taking vans to the next level to buses. Yeah, that's a whole different level. So you'd be. I think next year it's in Indiana.
Oh wow!
But maybe we can go.
So have a little caravan up there.
We drive the bus to the Van Nationals and then record a podcast episode out of it while we're there.
Yes. I'll Google right now the Van Nationals.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. See now, have you ever seen some of the older movies that had buses in them? Maybe like in Planet of the Apes, I remember this as a kid. It was the coolest thing. Is the humans made a bus into like a military thing. They used it to, to fight the apes. Mm-hmm. It's just wonderful. I don't know. I'm a big fan of that.
I don't remember that. I haven't seen this is the original Planet of the Apes?
This is after the original Planet of the Apes. There was a 1, a 2, and a 3. Mm-hmm. They were a lot crappier, but they had like bizarre. It was bizarre. It was like because it was hippies too in a school bus, and I just as a kid I thought that was so cool. Because bus for me when I was a kid was like you'd go there, you go to school, but it was fighting monkeys, which was great.
Yeah. No, it's definitely funny working on the bus though, because one kind of like you said, like I never thought after school that I'd find myself hanging around a bus or inside of a bus so often.
Yeah.
Especially one that was a school bus. But then it's just also kind of been funny because. Our bus actually, even though it's a school bus, it wasn't. It never transported people like a school bus did. Before we had it, at one point it used to be called. It was a bookmobile at one point in like the early mid '90s, and then after that, it was called the Income Taxi.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was owned by University of Buffalo, actually.
Oh.
And they like drove around.
I think it was Madai or D'Uville.
Was it Madai?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Oh, well, it was owned by a local college, and they drove around. The college used it. They drove around to kind of like underserved areas of the community, and they taught people how to do their taxes out of the back of it. So I think it's just kind of oddly fitting with the purpose that we were looking to use it for. Like the life that it's already had. It's already been a bookmobile. It was this educational income taxi. Now it's going to be this mixed-use vehicle that's doing
a lot of good.
Both planning work, but also bills, games, and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's lived a good life, and we also got lucky because it's a bit older, but because it never was a traditional school bus, it had low mileage. So our engines got low mileage on it, even though it's a bit older. So it serendipity, is that the word? I mean, it all just kind of fell together very nicely.
Yeah, it's funny. What I frequently tell people is, I took the bar exam, and the first thing I did was learn how to use an angle grinder, right? It was kind of like an unexpected kind of transition, but it was great. I mean, it was just really like being able to like work with your hands a bit like that, and like really try to learn your way around doing that type of work is pretty. It can be frustrating, but I'm really happy for that experience.
Yeah, it can be pretty rewarding. Like some of the first days after we started putting up like the walls and the flooring, and we really started building out the inside, because it's been a while from when we first got it, and then completely gutting the whole thing, and then we had to re-insulate it. And then when we're starting to get the build out done, you're looking around like, wow, this is coming together, because previously, earlier this year, it was just the metal frame, and then it was fun. We felt kind of great when we re-insulated it. We got this spray foam insulation. It felt like Walter White in like a Breaking Bad, like full head to body suit and the goggles and the special gas mask and everything, because we had this spray foam insulation, and we're inside the bus with a big gun spraying down the walls. But no, it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. So I have the information for the 46 Van Nationals. It's coming. Ooh. So the 46 National Truckin' is hosted by Truckin' to Tomorrow. It will be held from July 23rd to the 29th, 2018. In the Rensselaer, Indiana. So this is last year's, but basically the Van Nationals will happen last. This was in Rensselaer, Indiana. Was the last Van National.
Yeah. Is it typically the end of July? Was it one you went to?
Yeah, typically it's the end of July.
Oh.
Is that the one you went to? Was it in Indiana? Or
no, so I went to a vanning event in Butler. It's called the Butler Vanning, and that's typically Labor Day weekend. That's in a little south of Pittsburgh. So there's vanning events all over the country, but we should definitely do show up. These people. There's a documentary, too, about vanning.
Yeah. But I remember getting, I remember when I was a kid, there was a cool guy down the street. Here's this hippie guy would tell me and the kids about Jesus and stuff, but he had a van, and it was cool because he would it was when the Satanic Panic started, so he would tell us about there's Satanism in music, and I was like, really? It's like, they do this stuff backwards, but he was a cool hippie guy. But it was all mixed together at that time, and he was in a van.
Yeah, vans are cool. But look, okay, now I actually found the real updated one.
Oh.
So the 47th Van Nationals. How ironic is this? The logo is an angry clown driving in a van. It's Life is a Carnival, and it's the 47th Van Nationals in Greenfield, Massachusetts, from July 24th to the 28th. The 47th National Truckin'. Hosted by the New England Van Council, Inc. Perfect. So Greenfield, Massachusetts. So all of our viewers out there, if you just rent a van and show up, and you'll be accepted into the community.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
But I think we've also talked about too. There's an oncoming solar eclipse in 2024.
Oh yeah.
And you guys actually traveled to the
most recent.
The most recent.
Oh, okay.
So tell our viewers about that experience, because that sounds pretty awesome to me.
I mean, that was one of the wildest experiences of my life. Rich and I, because August. It was August 21st of 2017 was the solar eclipse. It was the first total solar eclipse to go coast to coast in the States since the early 1900s. It's been like 90-something years since they had a coast to coast total solar eclipse in the States, and almost 2 years before the eclipse happened, I don't know if it was Rich or if it was myself. I think it was me. I was just scrolling through Facebook, on the toilet as one does, and I came across some ad that was like Solar Eclipse Music Festival, and it was like it said September 2017, and this is like 2015. I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting, and I think I sent him a message about it. I was like, we should think about this. Totally forgot about it. Like a year later, he hits me up. He's like, do you remember that festival that you sent me about? So we look into it, and this group scheduled a week-long music festival up in the mountains in Oregon that was in the direct path of the total solar eclipse. And we spent 2 weeks on the road. We road tripped out there with a few friends. We rented a van. We drove out, spent a few days in Colorado, went through Vegas, or not Vegas, but went through Nevada up into Oregon. And it was wild because it was a 7-day music festival, completely off grid. So no cell phones, nothing like that. So it was cool because you're at a festival and you don't see anyone on their phones. People talking to each other.
That's great.
Yeah. And it was out in the desert, and they had 7 stages. They had music 24/7, so it never stopped. The only time it did stop was during the total eclipse, which is really that was really interesting. I thought because. It was kind of life-changing. It's hard to describe how it is because, like, I've seen partial eclipse before, but when it's total, like, you could take off the special glasses they gave you and just stare up at this, like, black dot in the sun.
Whoa!
And the whole, like, landscape changes, right? I think the only way to describe it that makes any sense is kind of like you feel like you're on a planet, like from Star Wars or something. Because everything is kind of like dim around you, but it's like this cool kind of like grayish, like pinkish hue.
Purple. It was like when the eclipse happened, like I honestly saw this color I've never seen before. Like I couldn't put a finger on it. I'd say it's close to kind of like a purplish, pinkish green.
Cool.
It's hard, but because we were in the desert, and so much of the heat is from the daily sunlight. As the eclipse was happening, you could feel it get colder because the sunlight was going away.
And also, you can see the stars, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
not like it being the middle of the night, but like the stars become visible, and it's like just really a strange phenomenon because it's the middle of the day and you can see the stars. You're like, whoa!
And it was pretty cool where we watched it from too. So the area that they had picked for this festival, it was like way up in the mountains on some private land, but they had a First Nations Native American tribe there as well that built like a temple to the sun. And they had this huge like sun ceremony the morning of the eclipse, and we were standing on this raised platform that overlooked this big field. And I think the eclipse was like 11:30 or something in the morning. But they had this big ceremony that the First Nation Native Americans put on, like as we're getting ready for this eclipse. And then all the music stopped for like the time of the eclipse, and it was really fascinating when it happened because people all reacted differently. There were some people who were fine. There were people crying. There were people some people losing their mind. Other people that were the most blissful I've ever seen them. I turned around and I saw my buddy Jimmy, who I've never seen even like get watery eyes before, just tearing out the side of his eyes, staring at the sun.
Out of something natural. So
So what were you guys' reactions? Were you guys crying, laughing?
I wasn't. I don't know. I felt personally just kind of very serene. I tried to just absorb it as much as I could because it only lasts. It was 1 minute and 45 seconds. Like it's not a very long.
You weren't texting on your phone, or
no. My phone was away, but I was just trying to stare at it and just like cement it in my mind because there's a chance I might never see something like that again. I'm trying to. There's some other eclipses I got lined up, but I was trying to cement it in my mind because it was just such a otherworldly experience.
So what are some of these other solar eclipses that you have lined up?
Well, there's 2.
We're gonna have one.
We're gonna have one on April 8th, 2024.
I hope that it's not overcast. If it is overcast, I'm gonna go wherever there are no clouds, and I'm gonna see it. Because if I hear because I think that's happened to me before, where it's just been overcast, you just miss an eclipse.
Yeah.
What would you guys recommend now that you've been to a solar eclipse? You've been to one. If it's coming to Buffalo in 2024, what should Buffalo do? What's something you think? Okay,
if Buffalo was smart, and
if we can
pull this off, we should throw a massive eclipse festival.
Yeah.
Because the people are going to come. I was reading articles and whatnot during the last total solar eclipse. We went to Oregon. We went to Oregon for this festival, but Oregon was a very good viewing spot for the eclipse. over 1 million people crossed other state borders into Oregon to see that eclipse. Over 1 million people just crossed into Oregon. I listened to a radio show where there was a small, tiny town in Tennessee that had hotel rooms that sold out 13 months before, because people travel from all over the country. Because how often do you get to see a total solar eclipse? Like, that doesn't happen very often. So I think we should capitalize on this.
So
Millions of people are going to come to Buffalo anyways.
Do you think it would be fair to, if you guys could use the bus and go on the path of the eclipse and make up economic development, solar eclipse tourism plans, and just travel just go from little small podunk town to small podunk town on the path and just present them, hey, we're in your community making solar.
Or could you work it out so that maybe it's sometime, I don't know what type of vehicle it would be, where you're constantly under the moon.
Maybe I don't think that would work too well.
I think you'd have to be driving faster than any car can drive.
Like a hyper plane.
I'll get working on it out. Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll maybe design a Buffalo T-shirt eclipse thing.
You can make a solar. Get on that. Solar eclipse, April 8th, 2024.
Oh wow!
What day of the week is that? Does it say?
If I
want to say Monday.
If I was a savant, I would just know off the top of my head.
But it's interesting. If any of you listeners like the idea of seeing an eclipse and also like music festivals, the same group that put on the music festival we went to is putting on another one in December of 2020. There's going to be a total solar eclipse in Patagonia, Chile, so at the southern tip of South America. And the same group's putting on another festival for that as well. It's supposed to be another week-long festival that ends with a solar eclipse. And if we can play our cards right, we might be there. So
nice.
That'd be great.
So, in a somewhat related subject, tell me about some of your other projects. Some other economic development. You have a passion for pregnant women.
Okay.
So not getting women pregnant, but just making sure that their children.
Oh, that's nice.
that they're healthy.
Yes.
As far as that goes, so we've been doing some work recently. One of the guys that we work with, he's a professor at St. Bonaventure, and he's been doing pregnancy research and toxicology research, but more specifically into pregnancy sickness and the causes around that. And he's been doing some additional work with another doctor. She's based down in D.C., but she's an OBGYN, and she does a lot of like prenatal and work with pregnant women. And a lot of the research that they've been kind of coming across, and is a new thing that's developing that was kind of previously misunderstood, is that pregnancy sickness most often is actually it's a defensive mechanism. So it means that if you eat something that has chemicals in it that are potentially harmful to the fetus, because the fetus doesn't have a developed immune system yet, the woman's body would intentionally puke that up.
Okay.
So that those chemicals don't get digested and passed along to the fetus.
Okay.
So for most of recent history, we've thought that pregnancy sickness just kind of happened and we try to avoid it. But it's actually a sign of a healthy immune system and a healthy mother. So we've been working with these two doctors to design a website and an application, like a phone app, that essentially work as kind of like a diet app. So for pregnant women or nursing women, they can go through and they can enter foods that they're thinking about eating or heavy, and the app will tell them, like, hey, don't eat this. There's a good chance that you'll get sick. Like, this contains they're called a teratogen. It's a toxin that can cross the placental barrier.
Ooh, it doesn't sound good. A teratogen? What is it?
A teratogen.
Teratogen. Count me out of that. I'm not a pregnant woman. I'm staying clear of that.
I'll opt out of that.
The app is really designed so that women can kind of track their diet, what they're eating, kind of log their symptoms, what's causing them to get sick, and then really to help them avoid these foods or prepare foods in such a way that they don't end up ingesting these toxins.
It's one of those things we can't guarantee that you'll never get sick, but we can help you, navigate through foods that are likely to cause that, so that you can maintain a healthier pregnancy and with a little less hassle, hopefully not, getting sick or nausea as often.
Yeah, I'm pretty ignorant in the area of pregnant women.
Me too, but I've been around tons of them.
Yeah, I saw a pregnant woman today at the gym.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and I always react really weird around them. I get a little more hyper around them and more defensive. and more like, like she's gonna fall over, and I want to try to protect them and stuff.
Yeah,
which is a weird thing.
If somebody would attack them, I'd stick up for them.
Yeah, I always get really like when I was a floor guy at New Era, if there's a pregnant woman, I was always, and actually the women in my cell were all very fertile.
Huh.
So there's a bunch of pregnant ladies in there who ended up having kids in my cell.
I think we've talked about this before. I'm not impressed with babies. I think
they're
overrated.
Okay.
People, it's like they can't do anything. They can't even hold their head up. So I'm just not impressed by. I think our culture kind of,
they could hold on to things.
Yeah, but people are impressed. Who cares? You can't do anything.
You could lift them up with their hands because they have, and they could do stuff with their feet because we came from monkeys, and I guess they say like. They're evolved, so you could like stick them to like a fur rug, and they would just cling there, and like start trying to suck on something.
Yeah.
So that's what they could do. But they cry a lot.
They cry a lot. They're not very helpful.
Stuff is coming out of both ends.
Yeah, they can't control their
alcohol.
Really. Alcohol. They can't even drink alcohol.
Yeah, they can't even drink alcohol. Yeah. No. They can't fly a plane. It would be cute though. It would be cute to have a little baby plane
until it crashed.
Yeah.
One of the other projects that we're working on is called Common Owner Portals, and essentially what we're doing is creating a couple funding portals to connect real estate development projects and other small businesses with capital, right? So helping investors kind of find projects to invest in, and then also helping developers access new investors. So there's a couple ways to do it. One that we're doing is called 506C, and that's essentially only for accredited investors, and you can solicit it kind of generally, but really the goal is to eventually have a crowdfunding one where anyone will be able to invest. And it's a little more technical. There's some more regulations that apply to it, but really we want to democratize property ownership, right? The way it is right now, it's like usually one or a group of wealthy people own a building and they rent it out, and like so really allowing people to have a piece of that building that's in their neighborhood and help them build wealth, right? They might not be able to buy an entire house, but if they can own, 5% of a building in their neighborhood, maybe they live in it, maybe they don't, then they can generate some income that way. So kind of democratizing and diversifying the real estate development process.
That's interesting.
Are there any incentives for like tiny house construction that you know?
Well, maybe you could put it together, right? You could put it out there if it's in an opportunity zone or something like that. You might be able to attract
get those babies working.
Yeah, put those babies to work.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, they can't. Babies can't make a big building, but they can make a tiny house.
They sure
baby,
can.
You should as heck be able to make a tiny house.
Yeah, here's some little nails and a little hammer.
Yeah, take your little nails and little hammer and make a little tiny house.
Yeah.
How many babies do you think it takes to make a tiny house?
Ooh.
I could see a bunch of them going at it. Like
they may have to stand on each other's shoulders for.
It depends on how many years.
Yeah.
How many years would it take them? At least 18.
They're morons. They'd have to grow. They'd have to grow up because they are morons. They are just
Except for the babies that listen to our show, they're soon to be geniuses because their brains are taking everything, all types of knowledge. So their moms plopping them down in their little stroller, listen to our podcast, and their brains growing.
Yeah, mothers at home. Yeah, put your baby by our podcast. And also like press it against your belly to so that they could get it in the little. With their little fetuses floating around there, they can hear our voices.
Put the radio close to your belly and just let the knowledge seep in.
That's how it works. Let it seep in. In through their nerves and their little skin.
That's how Brave New World works, right? There's a book by Aldous Huxley called Brave New World, and they when the babies are sleeping, they play music for that,
like classical music.
No, it's like lectures though, right? And then they absorb the information. It's beyond classical conditioning.
Oh
yeah. Well, yeah. I always thought if I had a child, I'd put them in front of the TV and have them watch Japanese Sesame Street. So they'd be watching Sesame Street, but they'd be taking Japanese they wouldn't even know. Or then the next day would be Spanish. So they'd have no idea, and their brain would just be trying to take in all these different languages.
Yeah. Oh, but you would do that to make them smarter, right?
That would be the hope. Or I just play, maybe I put them in the crib. This would all just be pseudoscience. And no, just me running experiments on the young children, playing Beethoven in their cribs.
Okay. See, it's a good thing you wouldn't do the opposite and just talk stupid around them. So that when they go to kindergarten, they're like pizza horse, fish food, tabunga, because their uncle talks stupid around them. I didn't do that with you kids.
Yeah.
I talk normal so you learn English.
It might work though. I was listening to a different podcast not too long ago, and they were talking about how babies actually, when they start kind of like goo goo gaga whatever, they actually run through like every possible auditory potential sounds like that a human can make, and then they end up narrowing it down based on what they hear from the people around them. That's why young kids learn second languages much easier. So if you have a baby and you're speaking multiple languages around them, they can like utter all these like little nuances in the how you shape your mouth and your tongue and everything to get these different sounds, and you actually start off being able to do all of it. And as you grow up only hearing and speaking in one or two languages, you get conditioned to not be able to do that anymore.
Yeah, that would be really useful. I don't know if any of you ever tried like Vietnamese or Chinese
food.
The language, there's like subtle tones that
guttural, very guttural.
I don't even know what I can't even say it. Like you say two, three, but I can't even do them because I was raised with English folks talking in English, but there's these subtle forms of tones that we don't get that I can't do. I can't do the Mexican R roll thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't.
Arriba.
Better than I do.
I tried to take Russian, which was pretty intense.
Oh, yeah?
I did 2 semesters of Russian at Fredonia, and that was really challenging. They're like, I've never been one for languages, but that was like next level. I would say.
If only I could get those tones down, I'd be like.
I was taking a little bit of Polish, and there's lots of like ch and sh and j, and it's just very guttural noises.
Yeah, my girlfriend's family is all Ukrainian, and my first Christmas was at the girlfriend's aunt and uncles and grandmas, and I'm sitting there with 18 people speaking Ukrainian around me, and I'm just there like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I learned like please and thank you, and that's all I really had for a little while.
Yeah.
But
I know very little about. All I know about Ukraine is by playing Risk that it's an important territory to get because it's your doorway to Russia between Europe and Russia.
I mean, it's very useful though. Risk is an important game.
Yeah. Huge. Well, in Risk anyway, territory. Yeah. But they have all the politics. Yeah, but that's another fun place where it's getting attacked by Russia between Russia and Germany. And,
Risk is good. Any of you guys ever play Settlers of Catan?
Oh,
No.
My nephews. The Tuckers, who are more geeky versions of
They
you
play
guys.
every game known to man.
Yeah, they play that.
It's fun. It's one of the funnest board games I think I've ever played.
Really?
Or
Yeah.
Donner Dinner Party is also a game too.
What?
It's based on the Donner Dinner Party. The Donner Party that they cannibalized each other, and it's this game you can play with your
Donner
family.
Party.
I do not know that
during
this
the caravan days into the West. Or the trail days,
Oregon Trail.
Yeah, basically, yeah. This was a party that went really bad. There
I'd
was
say so.
There's they did everything wrong, and they ended up getting stranded in the winter. And basically, like they had mega snow, and they had to eat each other. Some of them there was cannibalism. And basically as this stuff usually happens, the first ones they were going to eat were like they're Indian guides who these poor guys they were helping them out and they started to realize they were looking at their legs and stuff and
that could feed me for a week.
and these poor Indian guys I think they did
Probably the only one that knew anything about the landscape.
That's the thing too. You just killed off your most useful asset.
So is there a game of some sort? Is that?
We played it, and we played it after Thanksgiving. And it's this. You're basically you try to guess who the cannibals are.
Is it like Clue, but for cannibals?
Then everybody votes for who they think it is, and if you guess wrong, you advance. But if you guess right, but then afterwards, I was like, I should have just not voted for. Not who I think it is, but who I just don't want to play with anymore. Because you can essentially vote people out of the game. But yeah, it's interesting. There are Tuckers who are my cousins and your nephew. They have played. They never played the same board game twice.
Yeah, they know every game.
Every game
they play games. Yeah, they play them. it's pretty cool. They have these $100 games that they play, and Dungeons and Dragons.
We do the occasional game of Risk.
Okay.
But no, I probably need to step my board game.
Yeah,
board
I feel
game
like if
game.
you have a bus, there should be some sort of bus game. There's some sort of bus game, isn't there?
We could have some board games in there.
That's right. Yeah. There are different. There's those trap house games. Have you ever done those?
The escape rooms.
Escape
the bus.
Yeah.
I see. You could actually put like the exhaust system into the bus. You to escape before the carbon dioxide overpowers
There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, hey. I'm not even going to mention it. Yeah. All these horrible ideas.
Off air.
It's exciting. It's like actual. There's something on the line. My life's on the line. I got to escape. Burrow a hole through the steel wall. Do something.
What would be interesting though, if we do a board game on the bus, but the bus is in motion, and every time if we're playing Risk and you're out, you have to get off the bus, and the bus keeps going with whoever's left playing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then the winner ends up by themselves in Vegas with everyone else's money or something like that.
Huh. So Jake and Rich, we have about 10 minutes left, but I want you to take myself and John, as long as our viewers, into the future. 10 years, 20 years down the road. Where's this all going? The solar festivals and the pregnancy apps for women and the bus. What does life at Urban Vantage and Mixed Use Vehicle, what does it look like?
Yeah, I think if you were to ask our business partner, we're going to be on our yacht drinking beers. I'll be waving from my yacht over to his yacht.
Mobile yachts.
That would be fun. We got a bit of work to do before we get there.
Yeah.
I guess long story short on the bus, we'll see what it's doing. I mean, I hope it can run for 20 more years. I don't know if it will run for 20 years. So we're gonna ride the bus out as long as it will ride. That's for sure.
Big Blue's got many more years left.
Yeah, I mean, she's old but low mileage. I mean, we can, it's a diesel engine that we can run for several 100,000 more miles.
That's great.
So we'll see where the bus ends up. I know with the pregnancy app, I don't know if I said the name yet. It's called Mommy Menu. So if anyone interested, the website will be up soon, but mommymenu.com is where that'll be. We're really hoping to develop this into a full kind of health and wellness platform around pregnancy and because the app will be able to do the food tracking and whatnot, but we're building a website that is going to have a blog that's constantly getting posts from these two doctors we have working now, and hopefully other doctors in the future. And we want this to really be kind of like a hub where either currently pregnant mothers or women looking to become pregnant and recent mothers can go to interact and find good scientifically backed information on how to have a healthy pregnancy. So that hopefully that continues to grow, and eventually maybe the yacht. We'll see if that happens. But we have a bit of development to do in the short run.
Yeah. But what other types of plans, as far as Urban Vantage, to get to the yacht? We're in an unmobile bus now, but how do we go from bus to the yacht? Like you said, trails and greenways, but are there other types of things?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of economic development planning. We do a lot of consulting for real estate development projects, essentially on how to utilize incentives to make projects feasible. So it ranges from things like historic tax credits, new market tax credits, to different grants at the state level, tax exemptions, right? So a lot of it's grant writing. But a little bit of everything on that front on economic development side. But we are starting to get more into more traditional planning, so parks, greenways, stuff like that. We're trying to do housing plans, a bit of land use zoning type of stuff. So that's growing. I think the funding portal side of things, a little bit of fund management we'll probably be getting into. So yeah, there's a lot of potential. With kind of all of these different projects we're working on. We're actually going to be we're working on our own redevelopment project for the first time on Main Street in Buffalo, and we're going to have some retail space available. We're going to have a co-working area there where we're going to be working on all of these projects and hopefully be bringing some partners, work on other projects, and really be able to collaborate. So I think kind of down the road, that's the goal, is to kind of keep things moving. Yeah,
I mean, and just to put a picture to that, though, for anyone who's in the Buffalo area, this is the the old Record Theater building.
Yeah.
Across from Canisius.
Oh, great.
That Rich has been doing.
Yeah, Maine and Lafayette.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So if anyone's looking to start a business, looking for space.
Yeah, might need some retail space, or if you're just interested in what's going on, Rich has been doing a lot of work over there.
That's a great location.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. It's right in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think even with me, with my tiny houses, it would be cool to, I don't know, maybe start a tiny house business that makes tiny houses,
Tiny
custom
houses?
design, and
Yeah.
then we plan them, we get tax credits,
Yeah.
we construct them,
Yeah.
we set them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a workshop space over there as well. That might be a pretty good fit.
Huh.
Yeah. What about like tiny condos? Is that a thing?
Interesting. I know in Japan they had the idea of
I saw
micro hotels.
something similar. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I
Micro
was
everything.
thinking. But
Yeah.
wait, is that a thing? Yeah, I'm not sure how the residential
well, there's like micro
zoning rules
units,
work.
right? I think typically, you see it in larger cities, right? In New York, you have a lot of micro units where it's like Murphy beds, right? The beds fold up into the wall and stuff like that. They haven't really taken off here. I mean, there's such a kind of glut of space, right? There's just so much space that I think people are resistant to kind of embrace this smaller square footage lifestyle when space is relatively cheap here, right? If you can run a 3-bedroom apartment for $600 or $800 a month, you don't really see that. But I do think it's growing. There's, in addition to the co-working space, a lot. We've been doing a lot of research, and a lot of other co-working spaces across the state and across the country are now being combined with kind of co-living. So you'll see more of like maybe a dorm type of setup, or like micro units with shared kitchens and shared bathrooms. And the people who live in them also will have businesses in the co-working space.
Oh.
Huh.
So
Cool.
Cool. So, thank you,
Yeah.
Rich and Jake.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
thanks
our
for having
viewers if you're still listening to us. Wow.
Yes, thank you.
You might be asleep.
I don't think they are. I think they're ready to go.
Who are you? Who are you, viewers? Why do you continue to listen to our show?
Why not?
Yeah.
These are the farmers and the construction workers and the field hands and the policemen
downtrodden
and the pharmacists and the
Everyone.
downtrodden, the elites too.
The young babies in wombs.
Babies in
Yes.
wombs.
Yeah.
Little kids playing video games.
Yeah.
There.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
viewers. You
viewers.
can see us now. We
Yeah.
can't see you, but you can see us.
This is us.
Yeah. And even I was impressed with myself. I was able to get all the swipes
it
and
was
the
pretty good.
fades.
Yeah,
It's hard.
yeah.
For
While
our radio
you're
viewers, tune into our YouTube channel
yes.
that we'll soon be having. But thank you, Rich and Jake, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in.
Thanks, Rich and Jake.
We're going to leave you with some funk rap.
Cheers.
This is Frankie Smith with Double Dutch Bus. Thanks.
All right.
Beep, beep.
Give me a hoe if you got your funky bus fare. Double Dutch bus coming down the street, moving dirty vessel kind of shuffle low beach. Get on the
Who is this?
Frankie Smith.
This is awesome.
I was doing deep bus music research in this song. I encountered.
Double dust butt.
That's the only reason you would encounter this song on YouTube. If you're featuring bus song.
Yeah.
Was that intro song? Is that always your intro song?
No.
Because I was like, they were talking about a bus, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, the magic bus bus.
Yeah, I was like, was this planned, or is this?
No, I think I've always just said, if I ever do a show on van or bus, this will be the song.
Yeah.
you got special man who I can understand. Down, everybody.